Hello and welcome to the Spring Summer Performance Golf Seminars, the introductory presentation performed at St Neots Golf Club on the 28th of April 2010. My name is Tim Nightingale. I am an NLP Master, I'm a Certified Sports Hypnotherapist, and I'm a Level 3 Golf Coach with the WGTF. Now the fact that you are here means that you want to improve your game. And my goal this evening and through this presentation is to support your golfing journey, your golfing development, by introducing you to, or even expanding your knowledge of, NLP golf coaching. Now I call this performance golf. So two key questions up front. Would you agree that understanding how to manage your mind will help you improve your game? Would you also agree that if you are unable to manage your mind and control the feelings and the emotions and the behaviours that are generated by your mind, that you will never play to your peak potential? As an example, very often a poor 2-putt or even a 3-putt can generate emotions that we would prefer not to have on the golf course. First of all, would you like to be able to prevent that from happening? And secondly, if it does, would you prefer to be able to recover from it so those emotions and feelings are gone before you arrive onto the next tee for your next tee shot? Now, this scenario that I've just described is described and summed up very nicely by Tim Galway's expression or equation that performance is equal to potential minus interference. Now, some of you may know that Tim Galway is a world-famous golf and tennis coach. And what Tim is explaining within this equation that we're looking at here is that our performance level is only ever equal to our potential minus the interference that we create. So by potential, what Tim means is our natural ability, our physiology, our golfing ability, the combination of all of the golf lessons that we've had over the weeks, months or years. The interference comes in a number of different forms. It could be negative self-talk, it could be poor self-confidence or self-esteem on the golf course. It may be limiting beliefs. It may be that our golf life doesn't fit in with the rest of our life. Many golfers even have issues actually justifying their time on the golf course. Whatever the interference may be, that interference will reduce our performance. Now, NLP provides a way to look past the behavioural content of what people do, and by that I mean how they perform physically on the golf course, to look at the more invisible forces of thought, feelings and emotion that drive those behaviours, whether those behaviours may be positive or negative in a golfing context. Now, NLP implies the integration of 3 scientific fields. And these 3 fields cover our nervous system, which is how we experience the world around us, our language patterns, such as our self-talk and our dialogue, whether it may be the spoken word or even simply words that we hear inside of our own mind, and what's known as our internal programming, which is essentially our habits. Now, golf is a sport that wants to rely on habits. It wants to rely on a solid and consistent pre-shot routine and a post-shot routine, and even an in-between shot routine, which are 3 areas covered on the seminars through the spring and the summer. So just a little bit of background on NLP. NLP has been used by top sports professionals for many years to train their minds. There's a very long list, and that list includes Tiger Woods, Andre Agassi and Andrew Flintoff. NLP is also used in business to improve the performance of directors, managers and sales staff, for example, in the workplace. And NLP has now even been adopted by the NHS to actually treat patients who would otherwise have received antidepressant medication. Now, I'm not suggesting for 1 minute that has any correlation with using NLP on the golf course, but what I'm trying to demonstrate to you here is how widespread NLP is and how potent NLP can be. Wouldn't you agree that if NLP can help those people above, that it can help you too? So, some more golfing specific expressions that support the spreading belief that NLP is the coaching mechanism to improve golf. Butch Harmon, you can't see Tiger's biggest strength, it's his mind. Tom Watson, the person I fear the most in the last 2 rounds is myself. Lee Trevino, I think your mind has a lot to do with the game, sometimes more than practicing. And finally, Bobby Jones and my personal favourite. Golf is played on a 5.5-inch course, the space between your and my ears. This is a very powerful example, 4 very powerful examples of world-famous golfers who recognise the importance that their mind played in their performance on the golf course. And it was certainly good for Tiger that his parents recognised the benefits of NLP. Tiger had an NLP coach from the age of 13. Okay, so in terms of a personal skill assessment, do you know your golfing strengths and weaknesses? What would you say is the most important skill in golf? How often do you practice this skill? Would you know how to practice this skill? If you do practice this skill, what will happen? If you don't practice this skill, what will happen? If you do practice this skill, what won't happen? And if you don't practice this skill, what won't happen? Now, the 4 questions that you have before you here are what's known as Cartesian questions. And the last question in particular is designed to make you really dive down inside of your mind to drag an answer from the depths of your mind, to be honest. What most people tend to find out from the previous slide, if I just go back very quickly, what would you say is the most important skill in golf? I would say that 75% of the time I am told it is the ability to control the mind. Hence, the next question, how often do you practice this skill? How often do you practice managing your mind? We want our mind to be an ally, not a foe. Would you know how to practice this skill? So, having established, for many people, and maybe even yourself, that your mind plays a significant part in your game, what I would like to ask you is, how do you practice using your mind? Let's look at it from the perspective of actually playing golf. A round of golf takes, on average, let's say 4 hours. I know that there are occasions when it will be quicker, and unfortunately there are occasions when it's a lot longer. But for the purpose of this example, we're saying 4 hours. Pre-shot routine should take round about 30 seconds. It's